Hi, I'm Michael. He's Abdul. Back here today to talk a little bit about what is product-led growth and how to adopt that mindset for your product. And we are just quickly chatting, and I stopped us from chatting, so this is literally going to have no preconceived agenda, right? We're just going to talk through it because you said this one's more for me. I mean, I would probably agree because I don't think. I mean, just what is product-led growth? I've never led a product, right? I never let a product lead our growth. And you'll hear my kid in the background today because it's a stay-at-home today day for school. So if you hear that, I apologize, but that's the universe we live in on a Friday, August 14th during coronavirus. So, so product-led growth, how to adjust your mindset. So why don't you? So go ahead, start talking, and I'll chime in here.
I think it's like why I said it's more of you because definitely like when we started working together last year, it was very much an agency mindset. I could you're very much from an agency. I started my career in an agency. Like most of my career has been in agencies, but for the last few years I have transitioned more onto the product side. So I understood that mindset, and I think that's where we kind of when it was 50 blogs, and then we started WP Help. That was more towards a product, right? Where I think so. I think I'd like to know like what do you think kind of your what are the main three things if you tell me like what is different like from an agency mindset to a product mindset, not a product
Well,
led
I think
growth,
what's
a
happened,
product mindset.
yeah. So I think what's happening, and we've seen it in our agency, I've actually changed this from complete service to productized services. Even though they're still custom, it's the productized services, which I think is where the two worlds have now come, right? Where I feel comfortable. And I don't, the funny thing is, so there's a piece of software out there that helps you do this. I saw this software probably 3 years ago, and then Abdul brought it up again about a year, probably almost right when you started, like right after that, and say, hey, you should be using this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, that's not what we offer. We're an agency, right? Everything's custom and all that stuff. And as I've learned about the product and the scalability of the product versus an agency and the service and how to combine those two, I think our agency is going to have huge growth over the next 12 months because of this. It's actually kind of funny. I was actually talking to Brittany about it today. That's not funny, but it's like 4 or 5 months ago, we were worried about leads, right? That was something because it was during coronavirus starting and leads were not drying up and things like that. Now we're worried about fulfillment. We have more than enough leads. And through that system, I implemented this productized services that's removing so many roadblocks that we used to have to buy up. And that's really what a product, I think, led growth is. And I think that's the mindset is how do you remove roadblocks to get to a purchase, right? And what's the shortest way where before, and I think this is 100% what you're talking about is before we had 7 to 9 touches before somebody could purchase our service, right? They had to reach out. We had to have a call. We had to then send a proposal. They had to sign the proposal. Then we had to send a credit card information. They had to fill out the credit card information. Then they had to send them the onboarding form. Then they had to fill out the onboarding form, right? That's a lot just to get somebody kicked off, right? And now they come to the system, they log in, they purchase, they fill out the onboarding form, we have the call, right? I've cut that, and I think that's the biggest, like how to remove those roadblocks. And I don't read a lot, but I've mentioned this book a few times. I've read that book I haven't read it. I listened to it a lot. I do have it now for the pictures in there. So I've read it 3 times. I'll probably read it again, right? It's just, it's so powerful, the stuff in here, and how to think about it differently. What have you seen different from me as?
I think one of the biggest, if I don't know if you remember, but the first discussion that we had, like the first time we discussed something, we discussed about the platform, right? I said this is like a platform, and at that time you're like, no, we're more of a services thing. So I think that is a big change, right? Like I think as we kind of work together, as we kind of WP Help, and as kind of we work together, we talked more. I think I learned a lot about the services side, like how to serve customer service. I learned a lot on that side. And I think you also kind of started understanding the scalability of products, right? Why, like, why agencies or where you have service based businesses don't scale as fast or don't get hyper growth as products get. And I think that's where product led growth comes, right? Because, like, what few examples like Slack, stuff like that. These are examples of product-led growth where you make a product so good that, because right now with agencies, the thing is you have to go from top to bottom, right? You have to, if you want to sell to an agency or you need to sell to a business, you need to talk to the CEO, you need to talk to the founder, you need to talk to the president, right? But with product-led growth, with Bionic or with products, you have to get you have to get the guy somewhere who needs to use your product, and he sells the product internally, right? He sells the product to the company. You don't need to talk. Okay, when we talk to agency owners, we get 200 clients, right? 200 sites, right? That's the persona that we have discussed. That's more of what you'd be kind of understanding and kind of handling on the Bionic side, like how we make sure that we're kind of geared towards that persona, and kind of talking to agencies, and we'd like also working towards how the product is geared towards developers, right? So when developers come on board, they bring the company if they like the product. And the good thing with that is that if they go to another company, they go to another company.
Bring that company with them.
Every company, the product starts getting introduced, and that's the power of product-led growth. And I think that's a big difference that I've seen. Like, kind of, even in 15 blocks, right? Like now I see it very kind of, like you said, a productized service, kind of, all those kind of systems coming in place, and I think that's what we've all seen. Like it's much more scalable. It doesn't need as many people as well, to kind of run processes.
Yes.
Not in the sense of not needing people, but more in the sense of not relying on, okay, if anyone drops the ball, the whole process.
Yeah. Did somebody build this guy or do something else?
Yeah.
I think the funny thing you said in all of that is my mother-in-law talks about this a lot, about how she and my wife will plant seeds. So you're kind of like my work wife, where you said, in the Bionic world, where you said, hey, right when we started, this should be a platform. And I was like, no. And now platform's my idea, right? So it only happens because now it's my idea, right? No, but honestly, you did immediately within the first week of us working together, being like, hey, this should be a service, what we're offering, or a product. And I think, like you said, we've both come, like you've come from understanding what I truly believe to be service, which is way, way over here, right? And you're a product. And I think you did a good job at service and product. I think you were very sensitive to that at Cloudways where you were before. So it's not like I had to be like, no, you have to at least respond to clients. Like you knew, like your that products, that service to clients was important. And I just think we brought you a little bit this way. You brought me a long ways this way to get to the product-led growth idea. And to your point, I mean, Wes talks about it in his book about how it is getting into that lower level person, because they have more influence than we do. If 2 or 3 developers inside of an agency are like, hey, CEO, we need this, he was more likely to give it real weight than a cold email, a cold outreach, or some CEO shoving it down some developer's throat to use it, right? Where the developers are much more obviously going to use it if they came up with it. So
and I think that's the thing, right? With like if you look at the major players, especially like WP Engine, like not kind of bashing video, but like if you talk to most of the people we talk to about WP Engine, they don't like it that much, right? They're not very happy with it, but still it's by far it owns 80% of the market share in terms of managed hosting. Why? One, because it's a brand, it's very old, people trust it kind of a thing, they have legacy customers, but a lot of things is they go after developers, right? Like they are codable, they are everywhere where developers are. So developers natively kind of say, oh, WordPress, it's WP Engine, right? Because I think that's a good example of product-led growth, right? Where kind of in the hosting industry, and then Kinsta as well. Kinsta is like targeting developers, because that, like you said, like if a developer says something, like if we hit the developer, he already has spoken about Bionic in the company, and then when you go out and you talk to the CEO is also more open, because they know that their developers already need that product, already have mentioned that product. So I think it's kind of tackling it from both ways.
I think we're excited about it. I think we see that there's a lot of great demand in the space for this product. So I think it'll be interesting to see how in 30 days we're feeling about this product and where we're at. If we're even still doing it, which I definitely think we will be, right? But it's a conversation, like it'll be interesting to see even just how many more people know about us at that point. Because I think the word will spread. Obviously, we're going to try to help that with some advertising and reaching out and getting some, but there's no better sale than somebody that's a referral. Like we had somebody yesterday that was like, hey, my SEO company said we need to reach out to you guys. and these guys actually monitor speeds for sites, right? So it was actually kind of a cool conversation to see and hear about. So that's what I mean. I don't know if there's more you want to talk about, like the mindset. I mean, my mindset has shifted for sure. I see the world differently in my agency because of this. I mean, I actually, like we mentioned before, I have Baremetrics, which is very much a SaaS product, not a product to be used by agencies, quote unquote, right? But it's because it's a productized service now. And it's true, it is. Even though you can still be custom. I think that was always the reason I always kind of preface that is that was always my biggest issue is with custom, right? You can't be custom and be productized. Well, yeah, you can. You can still do it. It's just, you just twist it a little bit. And we have.
You just need to kind of work out a flow that works for you, right? Kind of see okay, which flow works for us and you kind of do it. And I think like you mentioned Baremetrics, I think in that video also we talked about why agencies should start using it, even though it's not an agency or a service kind of a product, but people should. And I think that's the thing, right? Like product has a lot of good tools that agencies or service-based businesses can use, and service-based businesses also have like a lot of customer service oriented things and process oriented things that products can use. And that's why I think we've spoken about this before, and I think that's one reason I really believe that Bionic WP would have a lot of success. Apart from the market being big and everything, is because we have both of a kind of very different kind of backgrounds, very different kind of mindset, kind of coming in so that's like kind of finding the sweet spot between being a surf, and that's what we discussed today, like the kind of services that we want to give to agency owners, right, for white label support. So I think these are the things that not many product businesses would talk about, because in their mind, okay, this is not a territory, but because we both are coming from, like, to the middle ground, so it's like nothing is not a territory, right? We can take whatever we like from any kind of mindset. If we like something from the services mindset, we take that because you know that mindset very well. If we like anything from the product mindset, we take that because I know that. I think kind of for us, we have both the territories very open for us.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to make this product so unique. Like you said in the last video, and it's exactly correct, where we spent so much time building the product that we kind of forgot about some of the service level stuff that we need to provide. And now we're bringing that back in as an add-on to the service, which I think people are really going to like, but it's something that we had forgotten. Like we'd been both of us so product focused that we just got challenged not challenged, a question was asked in a conversation we were having with somebody, and we were like, oh, we haven't thought about my persona in a while around how we're going to support somebody in that space as a white label provider, let's say. So but I'm excited. I think the product-led growth changed. I feel that it has changed our company. We haven't seen all the results from that yet. I think in 90 days in the agency, I'll really see it, and I'll see how the growth is affected. I think in 90 days, it's going to be significantly different. The world that I live in and you live in and Brittany lives in is going to be all very different, because I think we're going to see the benefits of everything we've done over the last 5, 6, 7 months. So that's kind of what is product-led growth and how to adopt to your mindset for a product or a service in this case. If you have any questions, let us know. Love to talk about it. Otherwise, I'm Michael. He's Abdul. Have a great day.
Thank you.